Hi, everybody. I hope a fantastic summer was had by one and all. I'm Denise, and I'd like to welcome you to 32Soft's September webinar. We have back with us today Olena, our sensational solutions architect, to whom I will hand off in just a moment, but first, some very brief housekeeping. Please know that by default, everyone is muted upon joining the webinar, but each of you should see a control panel similar to what I'm displaying here on the screen. There is a section at the bottom where your questions can be typed, and they can be typed in at any time whatsoever during the webinar, and then during the Q&A, I will read the questions aloud in the order they were received. When the replay of today's session is available, we will send a direct link to the replay where you will also find all answers and their questions. So there's no need to keep track or write down the questions and answers as we go. If something pertains to you, it will be displayed when the replay is available. And that is it for housekeeping. So Olena, if you are ready, I will hand off to you. Okay.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Denise.
Here you go.
Hello, my name is Elena. I am Solutions Architect and Software Developer at 32Soft. Today we will talk about supplier schedules in QED. Supplier schedule is one of QED purchase order types. QED supports three kinds of POs: discrete, blanket, and scheduled orders. What distinguishes supplier schedule orders from other types is their cumulative and schedule-driven nature. Supplier schedules in QED represent long-term contracts with suppliers that require regular weekly or daily delivery. Using supplier schedules helps suppliers to plan and adjust their production to accommodate customer orders. It helps buyers to create purchasing plans and informs MRP about these plans, ensuring better control over material demands and inventory levels. There could be separate supplier planning and shipping schedules or combined supplier schedule that integrates short-term shipping and long-term planning details. At all our webinars, we try to look at implementation of a specific business process in QED and tools we can use to optimize the process or its individual steps. Let's look at the steps involved in supplier scheduling process. There are four major steps, and most of you are familiar with them. First one is schedule order maintenance. This is where buyers create new scheduled orders or make changes to the existing ones. At this step, buyer decides on items being ordered, price list to be used, ordering patterns, and more. Next step is creation of supplier schedule, also called scheduled order release. This step is done by running a standard QED function that takes component demands calculated by MRP and ordering details from scheduled order, such as schedule horizon, standard pack, max order quantity, shipment and delivery patterns. Based on this combined information, it generates supplier schedule that states quantities that should be ordered and their delivery date. Then, buyer might need to make changes to this automatically generated supplier schedule to reflect parameters that have not been taken into account by auto-generate function. Once supplier schedule has been reviewed and adjusted, it is sent to supplier. Generalizing and itemizing supplier scheduling process makes it easier to identify at what step, for example, buyer spends most time. Once we have this information, we can assess whether any changes can be made to improve each step efficiency. Whether we have efficiency loss during scheduled order maintenance depends on how many lines each order has, how often new orders needs to be created, and existing ones updated. It is very time-consuming to audit, maintain, and update scheduled orders with hundreds of lines in them. One of the ways to make this step more efficient is by using scheduled order data loader. This schedule order data loader is fast and efficient way to maintain large schedule orders in QED. As all 32 soft data loaders, it looks like just Excel files, but it allows to upload large numbers of records into QED within seconds or minutes instead of entering them one by one manually. By selecting QED database connection and entering supplier code in the selection criteria, I can download into Excel all existing non-expired schedule order lines for a selected supplier. On the first connection, I need to provide my QED user ID and password. So loader can verify that I am a valid QED user and have access to the information I am requesting. If authentication is successful, I will see complete and detailed information for selected suppliers. Scheduled orders. Now I can modify existing schedule order lines, add new lines to existing orders, or create new scheduled orders for this supplier. My example has limited data. With larger number of data, I can use such Excel features as filtering, sorting, formulas, and references to my benefits, and utilize Excel functionality to increase the efficiency of my work. So let's make some changes. For example, here, and just make small changes for the demonstration purposes. Once I made all the required changes in Excel, I can upload them into QED with a click of a button. I will click on Upload. During data upload into QED, a window pops up indicating the status of the upload. If there are any errors found, it will be shown in Status window, and cells with errors will be highlighted in red. Each red colored cell will have comment attached to it with details of the error message. All 32 soft loaders use three-tier validation process. First, data format is checked by Excel. Then uploaded data are verified against QED database. This is where it checks if item is valid and belongs to a specified order. And finally, loader checks response from QED function where the data have been loaded into. If it reports any error, upload is cancelled and any uploaded changes are rolled back. So I will fix my error and we'll repeat the upload. So you've seen how quickly I can make the changes and how informative error messages are if I make any errors. Now let's go back to supplier schedule process schema. Next step after creating or updating schedule order is schedule order release. To simplify the analysis, we did not include here demands calculation step done by MRP prior to this. Schedule order release is done by QED function called schedule update from MRP. The only way we can increase efficiency of this step is to make sure data it uses are correct and up to date. These data are generated by MRP planned purchase orders, item planning data from item master, schedule order distribution percentages, supplier calendar, and data from scheduled order itself. So ensuring that information in scheduled order is accurate, that is what we did at the previous step. We increase the accuracy of the resulting scheduled order release and indirectly increase the efficiency of the step in our process. But what if we still need to make changes to the automatically generated by QED supplier schedule? Well, our solution to this step is supplier schedule data loader. It also looks like another Excel template, and this loader allows you to quickly and efficiently update supplier schedules in QED. You can download from QED existing schedule, for example, the one automatically generated by MRP, and then modify it. Or if you do not rely on MRP results when order purchased components, you can create new supplier schedule manually by keying in item details or copy-pasting requirements from the external source. It could be another Excel file or another text document. By specifying ship to site, supplier code, and start date for the schedule and clicking on download, you will get into Excel scheduled quantities for a selected supplier and site. Active supplier release ID will be displayed in the header. If multiple active release IDs exist, then word multiple will be shown there. You can make changes to the scheduled dates or quantities. Listed are all non-expired lines for the selected combination of ship to and supplier code. Order lines that have no active release ID which will show zeros in scheduled quantities. You can see that for this order in my sample data. I don't have any release ID, so it's just zeros for the schedule and horizon. If I need to add schedule quantity for an item I don't see in this list, I will have to add this item to the order first. If I will try to add new line to the schedule without adding it to the order first, loader will return an error. So once I made all required changes in Excel, let's make some, for example, let's order 15 for the October 1st, just for the test purpose. I just need to click on upload button to commit the changes to QED. Status window shows me that upload was successful, and I can re-download the schedules to double check that changes that I made are indeed in QED. If I need to create schedule from the scratch, for example, I know only item numbers and dates and quantities, I can use validate function to help me with identifying what PO this item belongs to. The validate functionality will help me to identify QED order, line number in this order, item description, unit of measure, revision, standard pack quantity, size, and other default order parameters. Let's say I need to schedule 20 for October 10. And I will try to upload. During upload, supplier schedule maintenance loader also checks firm plan type for each quantity column that's uploaded. Firm plan cannot be left blank, and you can see that loader returned an error. So I will put the type of the quantity. I will put planned. And for when you specify the date, if required, you can also add here not only date but also time in the predefined format. Now I can repeat the upload. I have errors here. I didn't load into the first. So I will try to repeat the upload again. Now load is successful.
I did this demonstration with one line, but it could be multiple hundreds of lines that you upload at the same time. You can also, instead of keying in this information, you can, for example, copy-paste it from external file, external source. It could be another Excel file, it could be mail,
from somewhere where you keep information about items and quantities that needs to be ordered, purchased. And when it comes to sending schedule to supplier, you can use established channels, or you can send a supplier a schedule in Excel format by using this tool, downloading full schedule starting from the certain day in Excel, wrapping it up and sending it to the supplier. You've seen a generic version of supplier order and supplier schedules data loaders. There are some variations of these tools when it comes to specific customer implementations. In customized versions, we try to modify data loaders to more closely reflect existing customer business process. I hope today's webinar gave you some food for thoughts on how to tackle inefficiencies in QED supplier scheduling process, if you have any. And I also try to demonstrate 30-to-solve approach to solving some of the data maintenance problems in QED. You can try the tools I just used in your environment and see if you will be able to gain productivity by using them yourself. I will pass control now to Denise, and she will facilitate Q&A portion of today's webinar.
Thank you. Again, keep the questions coming. If anybody has anything else, go ahead and post them. I'll take another look before we close out from the webinar. Real quick, though, let's move forward and let's see what we've got next. Oops, there's the question slide. Upcoming webinars. Here's a look at what we have in line. In October, Nancy will join us to show how to manage sales orders from multiple sources without costly transformation interfaces. And then in November, Christian returns to demonstrate an easy way to provide customers with new product cost estimates. And I'm kind of struggling to let go of summer, so let's pretend I didn't even put December on this slide. It was just to show that we don't have a webinar for December. I think seeing December will be more palatable next month. So moving right along, other events, we do have the Fall Midwest User Group Conference next week, and 32Soft will be presenting Breaking the Pain Chain on Tuesday at 11. Alex will be joined by JJ Frister of IAC, and you can find a little more detail on our webpage, but in a nutshell, Alex and JJ will share specifics about the pains of repetitive activities in QAD and how IAC was able to alleviate those pains for staff at their many, many plants, and greatly improve productivity, of course, as well. So if you or someone you know will be there, be sure and stop by and say hello. And as always, we will follow up as soon as the replay from today is available. Typically, that's within about a week, so keep an eye out for your encore email. It will include, as mentioned earlier, a direct link to the replay, and you will always find upcoming webinar or event information and registration links at the bottom of all of our webinar communications. So let me just take another quick look to see if we received any additional questions. And we have not, so that appears to be it for the questions. We'll wrap up with a final thought. And before I share the final thought, let me assure you I did not make this up, and it was just so coincidental that it fit today's webinar so well. Only recently have people begun to recognize that working with suppliers is just as important as listening to customers. And Barry's a pretty cool guy. I did have to look him up because I didn't recognize the name, but he is a professor at Yale, and he's authored numerous books on business, and he is also co-founder with one of his former students of Honest Tea. If they have that in your area, you know that's a pretty darn good product. So that's it for today, everybody. I want to thank you all so much for attending, and we hope you are able to join us again next month. Have a fabulous day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elena, too.